The first storm in 5 years arrived before the town sirens could shake themselves awake. Purple clouds rolled over Renshaw Bay like whales turning in the deeps, great bellies scraping the mountains, and the streets were soon slick with salt-sweet rain driven sideways by a northeast wind. Most people retreated behind shutters and fireplaces, but Emma Darrow, having spent half her life studying meteorology from a cramped seaside office, stepped out of her flat and lifted her face to the sky. She wanted to taste it, this long-promised tempest, to measure it with more than instruments. Her hair pasted itself to her cheeks, and rivulets toyed with her collar. She laughed. Then a memory caught her, something her grandmother had said when Emma was a child who feared thunder more than monsters. "If the sky bellows, look for the store that wakes only to storms," her grandmother had whispered, knitting needles flashing. "They'll give you the umbrella that shows what you've forgotten about yourself." Emma had always believed it was a fireside fable, an invention to distract her from fear. Yet the words returned unbidden now, as if sewn into the very shapes of the clouds. She swiveled toward Salt Market Lane, the oldest street in Renshaw, where abandoned shops slouched shoulder to shoulder. Lighting cracked, and in its white wash, Emma spotted a faint glow on the lane, a sort of lantern shimmer that should not have survived years of disuse. Curiosity outweighed common sense. She navigated puddles that swirled like galaxies. Salt Market storefronts were chained and plastered with notices, except one. Its door, charcoal gray wood warped by centuries of sea breath, was open a fraction. A sign dangled, "Argent Umbrelliste, este, 1863. No hours listed, the windows were fogged, but behind the condensation danced faint ripples of color, pale greens and silvers sliding like fish. Emma pressed inside. Immediately the wind ceased, as if the doorway were a membrane between worlds. Lamps hummed overhead, old brass fixtures surely long burnt out, yet glowing now with cloud-colored light. Rows of umbrellas lined the walls, each encased in glass cylinders, each handle carved from different woods. Birch, ebony, olive. Emma's heart prickled. Could it be real after all? "Welcome," the voice came from an alcove. Its owner emerged. A short man, late 40s perhaps, wearing a waistcoat as dapper as a magician's. His eyes were curious rather than warm, as though cataloging her molecular structure. "I'm Argent. Please excuse the dust. We open only for proper precipitation." Emma managed a nod. "I thought this place was abandoned." "Oh, it is! Except when it isn't," he smiled, in a shape both apologetic and secretive. "You're here for an umbrella." "I have one at home," she said, though she hadn't bothered to bring it. "I was only—" A thunderclap fractured her sentence. The lamps flared. All around the store, umbrellas rattled against their glass, eager. Argent clasped his hands. "They can sense you, miss." "Darrow. Emma Darrow." She tucked soaked hair behind an ear. "You speak as though they're alive." In a way, each was made to mirror a visitor's inner strength. Not character, mind you. That can be slippery. Strength. Something you rely on even if you don't realize it. The umbrella displays it as moving light across the canopy. Emma exhaled a laugh. "That sounds dangerously poetic. A good storm requires poetry." He opened a cabinet and withdrew a slender umbrella whose fabric was colorless until the room's glow touched it. Then it shimmered faintly opal. "Hold it," she reached tentatively. The handle was warm, smooth cherry wood. As her fingers closed, the fabric blossomed with ribbons of cobalt light that twisted, intersected, then settled into a pattern reminiscent of interlocking gears. They turned, vanishing and reappearing, silent machinery glimpsed through mist. "What does it mean?" she asked, voice hushed. Argent studied the canopy. "You're a systems thinker," he said finally. "Your strength is in seeing how parts fit to make a whole, and in trusting that invisible rotation." Emma blinked. She thought of her weather maps, the isobars she could thread together like lace, predicting wind corridors hours before they formed. She thought of the way people teased her for seeing patterns in everything. Coffee grounds, tides, bird migrations. Her pulse quickened. "Is there a price?" "No currency." Argent's grin brightened. "Merely use the umbrella. That is payment enough." A sudden ache of gratitude widened inside her chest. "Thank you," she whispered. He opened the door for her. "Do watch the gears. They never spin idle." She stepped into the storm. The umbrella unfurled above her with a soft woof. Rain struck the canopy, but each drop became a pinpoint of light, feeding the turning gears of blue until the whole underside resembled a luminous watch face, keeping time with the thunder. Walking home, Emma felt protected not just from rain, but from doubt itself. Words spread faster than floodwater. By midday, Renshaw's residents, long deprived of true weather, ventured out one by one. Lured by rumors of an impossible shop, Argent greeted them all with faint surprise, as if pleased but wary of the world's sudden rush. The queue spilled into Salt Market, people huddled under newspapers and patched tarps, waiting for a chance at umbrellas of light. Among them was Thomas Lyon, a retired lighthouse keeper whose joints burned at the approach of any storm. He shuffled to the counter, leaning on a cane. Argent offered an umbrella whose cloth seemed woven from shadow. When Thomas gripped it, silver lines flashed into being, the stylized spine of a ship pierced by arrows of light. It looked like a vessel enduring siege, yet standing. Thomas wept softly. Endurance, Argent murmured, the strength of outlasting every dark. Miri Patel came next, an art teacher, often spoken of as timid. The umbrella she received erupted into flights of neon birds that wheeled endlessly across the canopy, each bird dragging a comet tail. Miri stepped outside and gasped, feeling for the first time the fierce, unspoken creativity that daily spilled from her lesson plans into children's minds. So passed the afternoon. Each recipient left lighter, though rain hammered roofs and wind bent traffic lights, but storms unveil not only beauty, they churn hidden silt to the surface. Near dusk, a trio of teenagers arrived, Cal, Jessa, and Bran daredevils, who filmed reckless stunts for streaming clicks. They did not stand in queue, they barged through, sneers weaponized. Argent lifted an eyebrow. May I help you? You've been giving free umbrellas, Cal said, shaking water from his leather jacket like a dog. We'll take 3. Argent's fingers drummed the counter. These are not props. They're ours if we want, Jessa insisted, reaching for a display case. Before Argent could stop her, she yanked the door open and grabbed an umbrella with a handle of matte steel. The canopy burst to life in her hands, jagged crimson lightning that flickered without pattern. She laughed, thrilled by its raw energy. Bran seized another. Its light formed swirling mirrors that reflected everything around him, except his own face. Cal's umbrella remained dark, unlit. Wise mind broken, he barked. Argent's shoulders sagged. It isn't broken. It awaits recognition. An umbrella can reveal only genuine strength. Cal's cheeks blazed. I'm strong enough. He tightened his grip. Nothing happened. Frustration curdled. The trio retreated outside, umbrellas open. In Jessa's hand, the crimson lightning crackled, delighting her. Bran stared into his swirl of mirrors, entranced, seeking his reflection but finding only echoes of the world. Cal staggered through pounding rain, canopy blank, mind spiraling. Envy can be a storm more violent than any thunderhead. Emma, in her apartment overlooking the bay, documented wind shifts, unaware of unfolding tensions below. Her gear-lit umbrella leaned against the balcony door, faintly ticking with aquamarine light. Night fell, but the storm had not spent itself. Lightning stitched the horizon. The air smelled of upturned soil, though none existed near the rocky shore. Argent pulled down the shop blinds, yet a line remained outside. Still, he closed, for both umbrellas and humans needed rest. He locked the door and moved among his inventory, humming an elegy only Storm seemed to remember. At 1:00, I am in, the break-in came. A brick crashed through glass. Argent, dozing in a back room, jolted awake. He stepped into shards glittering like frozen starlight. Cal stood at the threshold, rain sluicing off his shoulders, eyes raw with need. I want another umbrella, Cal snarled. One that works, or I torch this place after the storm passes. Argent, barefoot amid shards, raised empty palms. Your umbrella didn't fail you. It merely told a truth you refused to see. What truth? That I'm nothing. Cal's voice cracked open. Everyone online loves Bran's pretty reflections and Jessa's lightning. I have no views, no comments, nothing. Argent's gaze softened. Your strength is unclaimed, not absent. It sleeps under layers of fear. Cal swung the brick again, smashing a light fixture. The store went half dark. Umbrellas quivered in their cases, sensing threat. Give me one that shows I'm powerful, he ordered. Before Argent could reply, an unexpected figure stepped in, Emma. She had risen to check wind gauges and seen the flicker of glass exploding down the lane. Now she stood with her gear-lit umbrella still in her stance. Stop, she said. Cal turned, breathing hard. Stay out of this. Emma advanced, the gears on her canopy turning faster, brighter, projecting loops of light onto the walls, illuminating every trembling umbrella. She measured Cal as she would a storm vector, pressure, velocity, probability of escalation. You can't steal what must choose you, she told him. Leave. His knuckles whitened on the brick. Easy for you, yours works, Emma inhaled. Let me see yours. He hesitated, but anger needs an audience. He opened the umbrella. It remained opaque. She studied it like a cloud map, searching for unseen motion. Maybe patterns could hide beneath thresholds of detection. When did the others light up? She asked. Instantly, he muttered. Mine never. What were you thinking at that moment? Cal's mouth opened, closed. Finally, that people would finally notice me. Emma nodded. So you held it expecting approval, not recognizing any inner strength. What if we try again? But first, you decide what you actually value in yourself, not what clicks you chase. Lightning flashed outside, and for a moment, Cal's edges dissolved, boy and storm merging. He lowered the brick. I don't know what I value. Then let's find out, Emma said quietly. She motioned him forward, out from the broken glass, beneath the humming lamps still intact. Sargent watched in silence, eyes glazed with gratitude. Close your eyes, Emma instructed. Remember when you helped someone without filming it. Cal's skepticism flickered. Then a memory surfaced, helping his sister rebuild a model spacecraft after he'd accidentally stepped on it. No cameras, no glory, hours of delicate, patient work. Hold that, Emma whispered. He did, and the umbrella's fabric inhaled. First, a single emerald thread glowed down one panel, then another. Interlocking vines unfurled, forming a lattice that pulsed steady green, as heartbeats do during sleep. Cal gasped. The pattern was simple compared to lightning or mirrors, but alive, persistent, supportive. The vines brightened with each breath he took. Growth, Argent declared softly. Your strength is the ability to nurture what you care about, though you've used it rarely. Cal stared upward, tears mixing with rainwater on his cheeks. It's beautiful. Take it, Argent said, but promise not to misuse any umbrella, including your friends. Cal nodded fiercely. I promise. He dropped the brick, which clinked among glass shards like a gilt-sized bell. Then he slipped into the night, canopy glowing with vines that thrived in the nourishment of rain. Emma helped Argent sweep the floor, tiny crystals chiming in their dustpan. You knew he would return, she guessed. Storms amplify longing, Argent said. They bring lost ships to harbor and release seafloor monsters alike. Thank you for steering him. Emma shrugged. Patterns. I read them. He chuckled. Your umbrella suits you well. They finished repairs before dawn. Argent reopened at sunup, though the storm still raged. Emma lingered, curious about the shop itself. Where did these umbrellas come from? She asked, tracing her finger along a mahogany handle. My great-great-grandmother stitched the first, Argent said. Legend states a meteor fell near Renshaw in 1863, a molten blossom of sempiternal glass. She harvested fragments of it, wove them into silk, and found that in downpour, they brightened with the bearer's best quality. The skill passed down, so did the rule. We open only when true storms arrive, when people's strengths need most to be revealed. But storms are rare now, Emma mused. Perhaps people believe they need assistance only rarely, he countered. Yet the umbrellas remain, awaiting any who brave the weather. Over the next days, the tempest lingered, though satellites predicted it should have wandered out to sea. Some muttered that Argent's presence held it, as if umbrellas demanded rain to survive. Whatever the cause, Renshaw adapted. Shops offered storm menus. Children splashed in luminous puddles, reflecting their parents' umbrellas. News crews arrived, but cameras failed to capture the lights properly. Footage showed ordinary cloth, colors muted. The umbrellas withheld their secrets from devices, giving them freely only to eyes formed of hopes and doubts. On the fourth night, the clouds finally tore open to stars. A hush swept the town as if everyone simultaneously unplugged headphones. The storm was over. Argent's shop windows dimmed. The door closed of its own accord. Those who had umbrellas found their patterns fading to faint ghosts. They worried the magic had ended, but then something unexpected occurred. Though the lights vanished, many discovered the strengths remained palpable inside them. Quiet vines, steadfast gears, birds edging toward sky. The umbrellas had been mirrors. The reflections were now internal. Emma returned to her office, forecasting with greater clarity than ever. She proposed a new early WIMS system for microbursts, integrating coastal bird flight data and ocean salinity shifts, defect she once noticed but never trusted. The network hailed it as visionary. Thomas Lyon, the retired keeper, volunteered at a maritime rescue service, his silver-lend ship umbrella folded over a chair while his real endurance guarded sailors from harm. Miri Patel painted an entire mural across the children's library, neon birds soaring into colors no manufactured pigment had produced before. As for Cal, his vine-lit umbrella hung by his bedroom window. It no longer glowed, yet every morning he watered houseplants he'd never owned before. He filmed fewer stunts, more restoration projects, fixing playground swings, repainting elderly neighbors' doors. The views trickled, slow and steady, but comments carried genuine warmth, and that fed the vines he sensed inside him. One dawn, while the town still smelled of wet earth, Emma walked Salt Market Lane. The shop front now appeared utterly abandoned, boards nailed, windows dusty, the sign half rusted. Had it all been hallucination? She touched the door. It refused her. But a scrap of parchment lay on the step. She unfolded it, expecting words, but instead saw only a shifting pattern of cobalt gears, faintly glowing. She smiled. "I see you," she said aloud. In her mind, the gears ticked like distant thunder reminders that storms are not catastrophes alone, but crucibles. The next year delivered no storms. The year after, only rain, mild as milk. Yet Renshaw had changed. People walked a little taller, even under clear skies. If disagreements rose, someone would recall patterns of light once etched on nylon and say, "Let's speak from our strengths." It became local slang. To open the umbrella meant to reveal one's better nature before a quarrel hardened. Far off, deep in the restless sea of atmosphere, storms prepared as always. And when the first bruise-colored cloud bank drifted toward Renshaw again, folk gathered tools, stocked pantries, checked on neighbors. But more than anything, they watched Salt Market Lane, wondering if Argent's door would wake once more. They knew that however wild the tempest, they already carried a spark of umbrella light inside, ready to guide them through, rain loud enough to make stories of ordinary hearts. And somewhere unseen, a back room walled by cracking plaster, or perhaps by nothing that architecture names, Argent sat at a workbench, attaching a new mahogany handle to fresh woven cloth that shimmered between hues of dawn. He hummed a tune older than lightning. Outside, thunder rumbled distantly as if clearing its throat, and the abandoned shop inhaled, prepared again to open only during storms, prepared to gift, prepared to show,